The OnePlus 7 Pro is everything a OnePlus phone isn't supposed to be. Some would say it has a better screen than the Galaxy S10 Plus and a nicer design than the iPhone XR. Its front-facing camera also puts the Pixel 3 XL's notch to utter shame. You might notice the three phones mentioned all cost almost $1,000, especially the S10 Plus, which cost more, a stark contrast to the OnePlus 7 Pro, which only cost $669 in America. It's so good, in fact, that its defectancies, namely the lack of wireless charging, or an IP-rated water resistance, or a camera that doesn't quite measure up to the Pixel 3 XL's. But even with those missing features and a few imperfections here and there, the OnePlus 7 is still a worthy entry to a premium space. We may never look at another OnePlus phone the same way ever again. OnePlus introduced a completely new design for the 7 Pro that is clearly inspired by the Galaxy S10 Plus and the Huawei P30 Pro. Fans of those phones will note the obvious similarities with the infinity look. But the curved screen model doesn't feel like a mere imitation. We hear the term all screen a lot, but the OnePlus 7 nearly lives up to it. The chin and forehead on the 7 Pro are barely there silver of black that give the 7 Pro a balanced and luxurious feel. Though it bothers my eyes that they're not quite symmetrical, the aggressively rounded corners of the screen matches the body of the phone perfectly. Compared to the 6T's flat screen design, has a luxuriousness that rivals even that of the Galaxy S10 Plus and sometimes even the iPhones. Once you run your fingers on the sloped edges, you won't even want to put them down until you have to because you have to pay for the phone. But one more thing, there's no notch or hole to be found on the screen. OnePlus pulls off the 7 Pro's greatest trick with a pop-up selfie camera that magically rises from the top edge when summoned. The mechanism is smooth, fast, whisper quiet, and it gives the phone a real futuristic feel. Although you probably shouldn't overdo it, due to a natural tendency for moving parts to break. OnePlus even gave out a special warning to users that overuses the front-facing camera. This isn't something you would expect from a major smartphone company, so we would have liked if they figured out something that would prevent that, or make it more durable. Only then would it be acceptable. The rear camera isn't quite as innovative, but there are three of them this time around. As with the 6T, they're mounted vertically with a slight bump, and set against a black panel that is clad in a gorgeous matte blue, gray, or almond colored glass. The button and port layout is also the same as the 6T, which has its pros and cons. You get the awesome alert slider, but unfortunately, that also means the headphone jack is missing. Theoretically, OnePlus could have used the 7 Pro's thickness, which is 8.8mm versus 8.2mm on the 6T, to bring back the audio jack. With this phone, you need to buy Bluetooth headphones or buy an adapter, because OnePlus isn't supplying one in the box anymore. One aspect of the 7 Pro that might be a deal breaker for some is that it's big and heavy. With a whopping 6.67-inch display and a 162.6 by 75mm frame weighing at 206 grams. It's easily a contender for the biggest smartphone of the year, topping even the iPhone XS Max, and just a hair smaller than the 6.7-inch Galaxy S10 5G, which starts at $1,300, but who's counting? Assuming that you don't mind the size, you will have a hard time finding a better display. OnePlus calls it Fluid AMOLED, which is just as dazzling as Samsung's Dynamic AMOLED. It offers a crisp Quad HD Plus display resolution at 516 ppi and its remarkable brightness. And the display has a 90 Hz refresh rate for the impeccable animations and gestures. In lay terms, it's an absolute joy to use. The only thing I missed was an always-on option, but tapping and raise to wake was plenty effective. OnePlus has stuck with its in-display optical sensor, while it's less finicky than we expected on the 6T. It still feels like a step backwards. It's incredibly fast and it works, but on a whole, it's way less accurate than a standard hardware sensor. Although I would much rather use a phone with an in-display fingerprint sensor just to show up for my friends. Of course, a 3D facial recognition would be better, but that would mean to have a notch, which OnePlus isn't willing to do anymore. The OnePlus phones also have tremendous speed inside and out. Once you unlock the 7 Pro, you won't have any complaints. Inside the phone, you would have 6, 8, or even 12 gigabytes of RAM. The processor within the phone is the Snapdragon 855 processor, which would absolutely shred anything you throw at it. So basically, you won't experience any lag when using the phone. However, it is Android and it is not stock, so be careful. The phone is also really fast because it's using Oxygen OS, which is a skin it puts on Android. Some people would like it, but some people won't. Oxygen OS 9.5 even has some personality of its own. All of Android Pie features are here, like digital well-being, gesture navigation, streamlined notification shade, and many other features. But OnePlus has considered how the users and features coexist before making any changes. For example, the new Zen mode go beyond timers to force you to take a 20-minute break away from using your phone. And when you open the notification shade, a clear all icon will appear on the bottom of your screen so you can easily reach it. Gesture navigation is the same as it is on the 6T, which to say is not always as intuitive as it could be. Complaints aside, it's almost as if gestures were specifically designed for the 7 Pro's 90 Hz screen. Icons and apps will follow your finger as if you're physically holding them and flicking them away, giving the whole system is a fresh, modern look and feel. At some point, Android OEMs are going to have to get on the same page with the gesture navigation. Even more so now that Google introduced another gesture method in the Android Q. But the 7 Pro is easily the best gesture phone that runs Android, even if it doesn't have any smartest implications. For example, without a virtual home button, Oxygen OS leaves no on-screen method for summoning Google Assistant. OnePlus has built a shortcut to the power button, but you need to know where it is to find it, because oddly, it is turned off by default. OnePlus also promises the 7 Pro won't become obsolete when the 8 Pro makes an appearance. Like a Pixel or Android One phone, OnePlus guarantees 2 years of version upgrades and 3 years of security upgrades, which, mind you, is still 3 years less than Apple. As such, the 6T is already one of the devices on board with the Android Q beta. Unfortunately, OnePlus phones are on the bi-monthly cycle rather than the monthly one. But 6 updates a year is still better than what many other competitors offer, such as Samsung. So the question here is, should you buy a OnePlus 7 Pro? First, ask yourself 3 questions. Do you hate plugging in your phone to charge it? Do you want to take your phone swimming? Or does the top-notch camera bother you more than anything else? If the answer is yes to any of them, then do not buy the OnePlus 7 Pro. Just don't buy it. Otherwise, it's hard to recommend another phone if you already like to use Android and you're not switching from an iPhone or a newer Android phone such as the Samsung Galaxy S10. Even if you buy the top-of-the-line 7 Pro with 12 gigabytes of RAM and 256 gigabytes of storage, it would only cost you $750, the same price as the 10R or the S10e from Samsung. The OnePlus 7 Pro is superior to those phones in just about every way but the software. The display is remarkable, the design is nearly perfect, and the speed is simply mind-blowing. The camera, while not among the best, is definitely solid as well. T-Mobile is the exclusive US carrier for the OnePlus 7 Pro, but it will work with just any network. If you use Verizon and you want to use this phone, bam, just pop your SIM card into it and it will work like a champ. That's something that you can't say about most international phones. Anyone can buy an unlocked 7 Pro without worrying if it would work with their network or their carrier. And unless they either hate wires or love water, I suspect a lot of would-be Pixel 3 XL or Galaxy S10 buyers are going to buy this phone just for that. Alright, thank you so much for watching. This video took me a long time to make, and it takes me a long time to get in this suit as well. This video took 3 days, so basically I had to do this Trinity tie 3 times and it really hurts. So please like the video, and it will make my day so much if you subscribe. Alright, thank you so much, and goodbye.